Well, this morning, a new study published this month reveals that St. Louis University and WashU filed nearly 1,000 lawsuits from 2020 through 2023 against patients over unpaid medical debt.
This morning, our Diamond Palmer introduces us to a researcher who wants more accountability, reform, and support for people dealing with medical debt.
It started with a single patient encounter back in 2020.
That year, Mary Shannon was working as a case manager at a nonprofit health clinic in the St. Louis area.
This patient walked in one day with a summons to court, and the plaintiff was listed as St. Louis University.
The patient was being sued for just a few $100s, a case that sparked deeper questions. Shannon, who now does independent research, began digging through Missouri CaseNet, and the number of lawsuits kept growing.
And the 973 lawsuits that I looked at, over half of those result in default judgment, where the court rules typically automatically in favor of the plaintiff, so the universities in these cases.
Some lawsuits were for debt as low as $104, and most were under $2,000. Nearly all were filed by SLU Care physicians or Washington University physicians. Shannon's research showed that 41% of the lawsuits targeted Black patients. Shannon and her colleagues' findings were published this month in JAMA Network. SLU responded by saying they understand the concerns raised about medical debt and its impact on vulnerable populations. The university remains committed to reducing health inequities and improving the well-being of the St. Louis region.
When you're seeking emergent medical care, you are not thinking about the dollar amount.
Clayton attorney Frank Ledbetter represents people being sued over medical debt.
The worst thing somebody can do is ignore a lawsuit. Also, for people who own real estate, what many people don't realize is if a creditor gets a judgment against them, it gets recorded, then that creditor has a lien against the real estate.
Ledbetter says liens are rare but possible. More commonly, people may have their wages garnished, credit score damaged, or face bankruptcy. He says legal representation can sometimes help reduce or settle the debt. As for Shannon, she hopes her research empowers people.
There are resources available. There is financial assistance and charity care available. You can make payment plans, and we're hoping to compile some resources in a centralized place for folks who are on the receiving end of these bills and the receiving end of these lawsuits.
Diamond Palmer, 5 on your side.
WashU did not immediately respond to our request for comment, but if you have medical debt, you should also know that this month a recent federal ruling says that medical debt will stay on credit reports. This is after a Biden administration rule was struck down by the Trump administration, but it would have cleared millions in medical debt for Americans, and it would have boosted credit scores. Now, to find out more information on what steps you should take if you have medical debt, you can head to our website, ksdk.com.